What's going on, guys? Jeff in it here. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here or if you're a returning viewer and you haven't subbed yet, please do so. I'm just a married guy trying to game as much as possible and play as much Marvel Rivals as possible. And the more subs I have, the more likely it is that my wife will let me play. Today's video is awesome. I'm really actually quite excited to share this video with you guys, like from a super nerdy standpoint here, because we're going to talk about some statistics. But what we're going to talk about in this video is going to affect the way that you approach the game, I hope, because there is certainly something to be said for investing your time into the right heroes, right? That's why we do these tier lists, and that's why we talk about hero priority and, you know, how to fill roles in the best possible way that you can. But some very interesting information just got leaked on the banning rates. Who are the most banned heroes from gold all the way up to one above all? And I have that data actually. So we're going to talk about kind of just like structuring the way that you use your time and what heroes you should be spending your time learning. But also then we're going to consider who's getting banned the most. So we can try to come down to some sort of, I guess, just acknowledgement of where the best time spent is going to be so that you can really focus on someone and master them and therefore help your team out as best as you can and rank up as efficiently as you possibly can. So let's hop into this tier list first, where we're going to separate these heroes and then we'll get going from there. All right, so this is what we're going to be working with here. I've got a column down here at the bottom, a little section called Heroes of Interest. Now, if there's a hero that you like to play and you don't see it in here, that's okay. This is just my opinion, right? This is just how I feel about the situation right now. I feel like these heroes of interest are the best ones to pick and spend time on, just as a generalized statement. I've got these different categories up here: Strategist, Priority, Vanguard, Duelist, and then I've also got Most Banned. Okay, so that we're going to get into that second section of that after we talk about priority. For Strategist priority, out of the options here, these being the best options, I think, the priority I'm going to say are going to be Rocket, Luna, Loki, and I'm going to say Warlock as well. With the recent kit change that he had, adding that crits reduces cooldowns, I'm starting to see more people play him. And if you really spend some time on him, I'm starting to see some pretty good Warlock play right now. So I think he's worth spending some time on. Okay. I will say, as an honorable mention, you could throw Jeff into here, but the reason I'm not going to put him in Strategist priority is just simply because Jeff can play so many roles. I don't feel like throwing him into Strategist priority does him justice, because he's so much more than just a healer. He's great with CC. He's good with DPS, especially if you have a Luna as well. I just think, like, if we're talking like pure healing potential, you are there to heal your team. I don't think that he fits that build necessarily, right? Hurts me to say it because I play him all the time. He's my favorite. But as far as like learning a strategist goes, I'm going to say those four, okay? For Vanguard priority, your tanks: Venom, yes. Hulk, yes. Thing, Strange, and I will say you could say Thor. If you like playing that role, he's kind of like a pseudo tank, right? Like he is a tank, but you're not really using him in a tank way. You're usually like pushing into the back line. You're trying to like drive people out. You're moving people off of the objective. It's not so much that true tank form is like you're there to like really hold the objective. Like you see that a lot more with Strange, with Thing, with Thor, and even with Venom as well. You see people playing Thor more often, like you see people playing Cap, or like you see them playing Magic or Wolverine, right? And those last two are duelists. So he does fall into the Vanguard category, but I would say that you see him more often played as if he is a duelist. So we can put him up here because he'd be worth spending time on for sure. A good Thor is kind of the same as a good Cap. It's just really annoying. And it's hard to deal with them. For duelist priority, I would say Torch is a big deal right now. Iron Man's a big deal right now, especially with the team up. If you've got a Strange on your team and you can play Scarlet Witch is a great hero to prioritize learning in the duelist category. Hela as well. Star-Lord, will throw him up there. Moon Knight we can throw up there, and let's say Namor as well. The team up here they can't be ignored, right? This right here: Hulk, Iron Man, Namor. So strong. So strong. Definitely not something to be ignored. So this is what I'm going to say are the priority. And these heroes of interest can now become like an honorable mention. Oh, actually, you know what? I made a mistake. I didn't notice that Emma was still hanging out down there. Emma's definitely a priority. Okay. I'm sure some of you are probably looking at that thinking like, what about Emma? Oh my gosh, what about Emma? I forgot. I didn't see her. She definitely fits into the priority there. So this is what I'm going to say from what I see going on and from what I know about all of their kits and how they play and how they perform. These are like the cornerstones of putting a good team together, would be these 3 priorities, right? Now, like I said, I've got some pretty interesting statistics here that show percentages banned from each individual rank up from gold all the way up. And you're going to see how that changes and the percentage of ban likelihood of them. And that's how we're going to kind of like narrow this list down so that we can make a better like comprehensive idea of who to be spending our time on. So I'm going to pull up these images here so you guys can see this. We'll talk about each one and then we'll get into relisting these heroes based on those numbers. Okay, image number 1 is your gold bans. These are the most banned heroes for gold, okay? It should come to no surprise Groot is number 1 here. You'll notice I did not put him into priority, and that's because I was already just being a little forward thinking, which maybe I shouldn't have done, but like I just don't think that spending time on him is worthwhile because he's always banned. He's always banned. Like there's no point in investing a bunch of time in mastering someone that you just don't get to play, right? And that's what I'm trying to save you guys that situation here. So for gold bans, we're looking at Groot sitting up here at 42.86%. Spidey shortly, just coming up short of that percentage as well. And then about a 10% decrease here, we're seeing Hulk as well. Namor is significantly lower, about half that percentage rate. And then it dwindles, as it goes down with Iron Fist and Torch and Wolverine, BP, Emma. Surprisingly, Emma has a very low ban rate in gold, but it's probably because in those lower ranks, it's a lot of like newer players even, they may not have really figured out how good she is yet. And then Hela being super low as well. So I do find this to being a higher rank than this. Like I do find this to be interesting. This ban priority is a little bit off in my opinion, but again, people are still working out the characters and figuring things out. So that this comes from an area of not really seeing the full potential. I think they are already very aware that Groot, Spidey, and Hulk are the problem. Okay, these are the highest banned for gold. Okay, and now we have our platinum bans, and you're going to notice the top 3 are the same. It's Groot, Spidey, and Hulk. I don't know why everyone's so afraid of Spider-Man. Like on some maps, he can be really annoying, and I can validate the rationale behind banning him. But normally they're just not that good. They're not making that big of a difference, but people are afraid of him because of Necros and, the other streamers and stuff like that do super well with him. And I get it. There's like a fear. That's a fear ban. It's not like a strategic ban. It's just a fear ban in my opinion. But the heroes haven't changed. These are the same heroes that are being banned that are in gold. And I think it's worth noticing here that Iron Fist got bumped up a little bit and Namor got bumped down a little bit. Emma's coming up a bit in percentage. BP and Wolverine aren't quite so feared in platinum, it seems. Okay, now we have the diamond bans. Again, looking pretty similar. Groot is still holding first place here and the most likely to be banned, but now we've got Iron Fist bumping up just a little bit. And I will say that you will notice that when you get into like Plat 2, Plat 1, you're going to start seeing more Iron Fist players than you were seeing in Plat 3 and below. For sure, you will. There's more like a balance that we're seeing now. These are higher percentages for these 3. Hulk is still there. Torch got bumped up a bit. Spidey got bumped down a bit. Now we're seeing the swap where we've got Hela coming up at a higher ban rate. Emma's still jumping up a bit. And now we also have the introduction of Loki being in here as someone to ban, which is interesting because in my opinion, Loki's maybe the best. He's got his clones. He's got the healing like rune that he does, the whatever it is called. I don't know what it's called. The stone that it makes you invincible. It also cleanses Bucky's ult. If you get hit by Bucky's ult and then you go into the little green circle from his healing thing, that like the curse on your health, it just goes away. If you leave that, it comes back. But if you're in there, he can't eliminate you, and therefore you can make him lose the ability to keep running his ult. So pretty insane. You see a lot of really good Bucky players like as you start to rank up. So I think that's very valid. Okay, and now we have our Grandmaster Bans, right? So this is where we're really starting to see that shift, right? We're starting to see people use and be better with different characters, and as a result, now we're seeing the ban percentages shift. Iron Fist jumps all the way up, like all the way up to the number 1 most banned. Groot's just a little bit behind. Torch is more likely to be banned. Hulk is still getting banned a lot. Spider-Man dropped down to a 16.22% ban rate. We have Hela jumping up. Emma's coming up again. We have Cap introduced into this now. Namor's still an option, and still Loki's getting banned in Grandmaster. Okay, and now the Celestial and One Above All is combined here into one. And it's looking pretty similar, right? We don't see too much of a change here. It's not like you get into one rank and it's just like all of a sudden everything has changed, but Iron Fist is still at the top. Torch is down here. Groot, Hulk, Spidey, Hela. Introduction of Psylocke here. You start to see some really good Psylocke players later on. Emma's still in here. Cap was introduced, and then, of course, Wolverine is still down here at the bottom. So this is pretty interesting to look at, because when you think about ranking up and you think about spending time on learning these characters and mastering them and really getting good with them, I think that this is extremely relevant, because you don't want to be spending a lot of time on someone that you can't play. Like, how frustrating would it be to say, like, I want to play the tank role. I'm going to learn Hulk, Groot, and Emma. All of them are in the highest ban priority. So especially like Hulk and Groot. So you spent your time learning 3 tanks, and the likelihood of you being able to play 2 of them is extremely low. So really, you're just going to play Emma every game. So I think that there's definitely a reason to be aware of this. And I hope that this helps you guys make a good decision on who you're going to play. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hop back into that tier list. We're going to remove some of these higher ban priorities. We're going to move them down into their separated tiers. Then we're going to see who's left in the priority. And then we can make a decision basically on who would be the best pick from that. Again, in my opinion. All right, back to the tier list. We are going to go with the Strategists first. So the only one that we're really seeing, and it's at a very, very low priority here, and you don't see it until later on in the ranking system, but you're seeing Loki get banned. If we want to throw somebody else up into that Strategist priority, then I would say if we want to round that out and keep 4 there as an option for you, we could put Invisible Woman up there. For the Vanguard priority, we are seeing Hulk and Emma. I didn't put Groot in the list before because he's always getting banned. I just couldn't validate putting him in priority, even without like discussing the statistics with you guys first. I just didn't want to put him there because I just don't think you should spend any time on him. So he's most banned as well. You're left with a really good list. And like, if I'm being honest with you, I don't know why Venom doesn't get banned or why Strange doesn't get banned. These 2 right now are a burden. They are an absolute burden, I'm telling you. Venom especially, like, you just can't kill him. If someone has just like a middle level of skill with him, it's so annoying. And I have this conversation with people in game too, like we shouldn't be banning I don't know, people ban like ridiculous people sometimes. Even like Spidey, I'll make the argument sometimes, like, don't ban Spidey, just ban Venom. I get it, you're afraid of Spider-Man, but like, ban Venom. People are like, oh, Venom's not even that good. He's not even that good. Like, they don't do that much. They do a lot. They are so annoying. They are a massive distraction. You spend so much time dealing with them that it gets in the way of everything else that you're trying to do, because unfortunately you have to deal with him because he does a lot of damage. And Venom can hit headshots, which is something unique to his kit as a Vanguard. So you really do have to be careful with a Venom on the enemy team. I just feel like he should be a higher ban priority, but he's just not. Like, he doesn't show up at all, which is interesting. I mean, maybe there's like that smaller percentage that didn't make the list. Maybe he has like a 1.2% ban rate, but like, I just feel like he should be a much higher priority. For the banned Duelists, we're seeing Torch, we're seeing Hela, and we're seeing Namor. The banning of Namor, I believe, comes from the team up with Hulk. And I would say that probably sometimes what happens is like Hulk doesn't happen to get banned for whatever reason, or somebody like wants to play him and they ban Namor instead. But you're left with some really good options here. And especially if you've got Strange on the team, I think that prioritizing Scarlet Witch right now because of the new team up is a really big deal. This is just kind of the situation that we're in right now. As far as like other people getting banned that didn't make the priority list, you're also seeing Wolverine, you're seeing Iron Fist in there. But you're not really seeing these 4. You're just not. Which I think is kind of interesting. Mr. Fantastic is super good right now, and I feel like people kind of like just kind of dunk on him a little bit. I don't understand why. I think he's good. Penny is great objectively, and especially on certain maps, she really shines. And she can be something really difficult to get past. The spider nest is just a big deal. If you can't deal with that, it can be so hard to progress. So I think that she's definitely worth noting as like a tank that you could spend some time on. So like, honestly, I'd be willing to throw Mr. Fantastic up here into Duelist. I'd be willing to throw Penny up here into the Vanguard. And we can even just at this point throw Jeff up here. Okay. Only just to give you guys options, not because like I would say specifically at this exact point, like this is your priority, but you could also argue that it does make sense to make this statement. I think that this is like great. You've got 15 heroes to choose from. You've got 5 from each role to pick from that you could spend time on, and you wouldn't really be running the risk of your best hero getting banned. So I just think that this is like a huge opportunity to kind of rework the way that you're thinking and approaching the game, based on who you want to play with, who you want to practice with, and who you want to really spend that time mastering. Like I said before, this is a time saver, right? When it comes to playing this game, it takes time to play it. It takes time to learn these characters. We got to take time away from doing other things. We are, jobs, our lives, whatever we have to do. I got to take time away from hanging out with my wife and my toddler to game with my buddies and make gaming content. So if we can prioritize time to the most effective way possible, then I think that that's super advantageous for anyone. So if you're struggling in ranked right now, if you're having a hard time deciding what you want to do or who you want to main, use this list. Like, I think that this is a really strong statement to make. If you pick any of these 5 from either of these 3 roles, I think that you're making a really good choice. And I think that you're going to see an improvement in your game, your experience playing the game. And also I think it's going to help you rank up a little bit faster. So I hope that that's helpful for you guys. I hope this was interesting. I was very interested this morning to see the data on the ban percentages, because it just kind of really changes the way that you think about a tier list for a game, because there's no reason to prioritize anyone that's getting banned all the time. As epic as the Hulk Namor play is, you're not going to have a Hulk on your team. You're just not. So there's no reason to spend that time learning him. I will say Emma is a low ban priority. She's very low on the list, but she is on the list. You could move her back up in here, and I think that it'd be fair to do that. I do see her get banned sometimes, but it's not nearly as common as these 2, for sure. But people are afraid of Emma. Definitely. You could say that you could put them up in priority, these 2, Torch and Hela, but my opinion, I think they get banned too much. I think it's better to just leave them out of that list and focus on these 5. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this helps you make some good choices in who you're going to practice with. And yeah, like I said before, if you have not subbed yet, this is the first time seeing one of my videos, please just take a second, throw me a subscription. It's free for you to do so. It helps me out greatly. And like I mentioned before, can play more. If I get more subs, my wife will let me play more. So help me out here. Help a guy out. I'm just trying to make some cool Marvel Rivals content for you guys. So stay tuned for the next video. I've got more coming soon, and I'll see you in the next one.